welcome to Teleislas News with the most important information of the day. New developments in the New Beginning cabinet. 2 persons today were sworn into the administration, particularly to the Secretaries of Mobility and Private Office.
Governor Everett Hawkins should complete his cabinet with the ownership of mobility and private portfolio leaders. Today afternoon, Jeffrey Mauricio Amarisco duty was secured as Secretary of Mobility. He is a business administrator of the Universidad del Bosque with a diploma professional technician in traffic, transportation and road safety, and since 2015 he has worked in the Secretariat that today he will begin to lead. Laura Escamilla was secured as Private Secretary, a professional in international trade, a specialist in human resources management, and with extensive experience in the public and the private sector.
And once again, violence affects a family of the island. This morning, in events that occurred in the Little Hill sector, a Rice man lost his life after being shot several times.
Dismayed is one again the community of the island by the murder of Greg Pomier in his home located in the sector of Little Hill, an event that occurred apparently around 6 o'clock in the morning. The police colonel provided information about this incident and investigation that are being carried out.
Upon arriving at the scene of the incident, we found a person inside the residence who had been killed with a firearm. At this moment, CTI personnel are inspecting the scene. We have a judicial police component of surveillance police with operational groups sweeping the area.
According to the National Police, the perpetrators are said to have fled through the wooded area of the sector.
Apparently, there were 3 subjects who committed the crime, of which apparently 2 of them were tall and 1 was short. These are the description that they gave us. The community informs that once they committed the crime, they fled towards the wooded part of the sector, so that is what at this moment we are about to establish and verify.
The institution continues investigation on the case, which at this time is being led by the Technical Body of Investigation, CTI, from whom they will be receiving information in the coming hours.
And 9 people were arrested and 165 summonses were imposed by the National Police during the weekend. This was the report delivered by the institution.
Como resultados operativos tenemos 9 capturados.
As operational results, we have 9 individuals captured, 165 traffic tickets given in compliance with Law 1801 for different reasons. Within these 9 captures, it is important to highlight the capture of alias Kel, who was captured for homicide. He had an arrest warrant, and with this capture we achieved the clarification of the events that occurred last July 11th in a public establishment.
Likewise, the capture of 2 men for drug trafficking is announced.
2 sujetos fueron capturados.
2 subjects that were carrying 30 blocks of cocaine were captured by one of the guardians. With this issue, we are impacting positively.
Among the operation, and arrest for illegal possession of firearm is also highlighted, as well as the arrest of a subject for the theft of a public establishment.
The national government announced that the housing improvement program that seeks to benefit low-income families throughout the country, Change My House, will reach the archipelago.
During her visit to the archipelago, the Minister of Housing, City and Territory, Catalina Velasco, announced that the national government plans to develop the new housing improvement program, Cambia Mi Casa, or Change My House, on the islands.
What is Change My House is a program for families who have a home that is in a situation of deterioration that physically is not in optimal conditions. The improvement include bathrooms, kitchens, floors, and roof, especially since we know that there are some homes in the archipelago of San Andres and Providence, especially here in San Andres, that need this type of intervention. We are planning a great program for it.
The head of the Housing Ministry pointed out that this program will seek to work with local labor from the islands, thus generating hundreds of new jobs.
We want to work hand in hand with all the forces of the community. The departmental contributions will be welcome, especially with the mastery workers, with people whose job is to make building repairs. We want to involve them because we know that it is a wonderful job that has an important effect on the welfare of families and is generator of employment, so we will invite them to be part of the program.
The program, Cambia Mi Casa, seeks to reach all rural and urban areas of Colombia. According to data from the DANE, out of 70 million registered households, 5.2 million have a housing deficit, and of these, 4 million are in poor conditions.
The Department of San Andres Providence and Santa Catalina participates in the World Travel Market in London, which is one of the most important in the United Kingdom.
In the last few hours, the departmental government announced that San Andres Dazzler represents at the World Travel Market in London, one of the most important tourism fairs in the United Kingdom. This event was held from November 5th to 7th. This tourism showcase, in which the destination was presented through ProColombia with the theme Colombia #1 in bird species.
We are in the city of London in the most important convention center of the city, attending the WTM Fair, which is held every year here. This is its 43rd edition, and this is part of the project that is being advanced by the Secretariat hand in hand with Fontour and ProColombia, which included going to fairs such as WTM Brazil. This fair, where we are serving the European market. Here are the operators from all over Europe and the world. Is perhaps the most important fair in the world after the Fitur in Spain.
The objective was to position the country as a must-see destination for those interested in this type of experience, especially for travelers from the English market, since records show that there are more than 1,900 species of birds. San Andres Providence and Santa Catalina have 166 species of birds. Likewise, it has a wide range of fauna and flora that can be explored in a safe and eco-friendly way.
The national government's focus of this fair is ecotourism in Colombia.
The Secretary of Turismo, Juan Enrique Archibaldao, also took the opportunity to continue promoting the destination in different areas such as the sun and beach, ecotourism, sport and culture, among others.
And the Colombian Air Force celebrates its 103rd anniversary, fulfilling the mission to fly, train, and fight to win, dominate in the air, space, and cyberspace from different areas of Colombia. Today, pay tribute to the institution that has protected the airspace of Colombians. Thanks to the different capabilities of the units and its presence in the archipelago of San Andres Providence and Santa Catalina, it has allowed it to be one of the units with the largest number of aeromedical transfers, where service has been provided as air ambulance with its transport of patients, vaccines, and other supports. And in other news, tomorrow, November 9, the binding regional dialogue will be held in the department, where island community will be able to present their proposal for the National Development Plan of President Gustavo Petro.
With the purpose of building a national development plan that addresses the needs of the country's regions, the national government has developed the binding regional dialogues, where citizens may express their ideas for the construction of the document that will serve as a roadmap to set programs, investments, and goals for the 4-year term. On November 9th, islanders will have an appointment to make their proposal known.
The bidding regional dialogues are part of the initiative of President Petro for the National Development Plan to be built in a participatory manner. The whole country and the inhabitants of the archipelago are going to propose to make recommendations on what should be the content of the development plan. Tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9, from 18 in Marlin at the Bolivariano School, will be all gathered there. All the agents of the department, young people, women, organizations, businessmen, student workers, everyone is welcome. We'll be waiting for you tomorrow.
The Minister of the Housing Portfolio specified that a special binding regional dialogue will be held for the island of Providence and Santa Catalina.
We hope in the next few days to propose a date for inhabitants of Providence to join us in this conversation. We know that it is difficult to travel to San Andres, so we want to make an additional special and specific dialogue for the inhabitants of Old Providence.
On November 15th, when Petro's government will be 100 days old, the National Development Plan 2022 through 2026 will be presented to the National Planning Council, which will study it and make the pertinent observations to be presented to the Congress of the Republic on February 7th, 2023.
And by Decree 0678 of October 28, 2022, the departmental administration extended prohibition for a term of 6 months of the realization of any type of public shows or private events that involve the use of pickups type loudspeakers that affect the tranquility of the community.
Through Decree 0678 of October 28 of 2022, the realization of any type of public shows or private events that involve the use of pickup type loudspeakers that affect the public tranquility is prohibited in the department from the date for a term of 6 months. Exceptions to this prohibition are the legally authorized establishments and events, provided that the maximum sound decibels established by law are observed. The use of any means of sound production and amplification, devices, accessories, and the like in public space of the spread by pedestrian area is prohibited. In case of requiring its use in an event, it would be required a respective permit from the government secretariat.
And now it's time for sport news with Victor Fusalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. A first win for Caribbean Storm against Cimarrones of Chocó. A very even and hard-fought game between both teams, with a strategy that leaned more towards the defensive aspect, where the score was below 70 points. In the first quarter, the home team came out ahead, while in the second quarter, defensive adjustments gave the advantage to the team from Chocó. In the second half, the Islanders made defensive adjustments as instructed by their coach Ivan Garcia. In the third quarter, and after adjusting their defensive and offensive firepower, the Island team managed to come back on the scoreboard, keeping their advantage until the end to defeat the Cimarrones Chocó team by a score of 65-58. It was a stellar night for Andres Ibargüen, with his outstanding performance under the boards, managed to come out on top and to be the MVP of the game.
Es verdad que nosotros tenemos la ventaja abajo.
It's true that we have the advantage down low, and we know how to take advantage of it in some moments. That's why when we play collectively, we make the difference. I think it is also part of the desperation, and that is part of the game. There are people who get adrenaline and say, well, I am going to play, or if you are defending a player and he makes a basket on you, you take it personally and you want to return the point. I think that is what's happening. We have already reached that point. We have been talking about how we wanted to win, and the only way to win is by playing collectively. The boys are assimilating it, and we try. There are times when we lose that notion, but we try to readjust and return to the game plan.
A great start for the Island team that tonight will be facing in the second game against the Cimarrones Chocó, where a full house is expected at the Ginny Bay Coliseum. Looking for integration and recreation, an exceptional softball tournament was carried on. In one of the games, the Aquamarina versus Orange Hill teams face each other, a game that serves as preparation for the teams that are looking to go to the next national games. With more details, Edwin Bent told us.
A nice tournament that we are playing here in the Eduardo Castro baseball minor stadium. Is a tournament that right now, well, 6 teams are playing. Aquamarina is the only plus 50 team. We have Cartagena Alegre, we have Centro, we have a team from Orange Hill, and Back Road. Is a very nice tournament. I invite the community to come and support us. It's good for us as players to get this kind of tournament that we know we can keep in condition and prepare for any other tournament that is coming up. There's going to be a plus 50, a plus 50 national in the city of Monteria. It will be from the 2nd till the 7th of December. Precisely the team that I play with, the Aquamarine plus 50. We are taking this tournament for preparation for that national. It's going to be 20 teams, including a team from Venezuela. So this kind of tournament will always be good for us for preparation, for keeping condition. So as how I said, well, It's good that we can have this kind of tournament, and once again, I invite the community to come up and support the players them.
These Saba short tournaments are definitely a blessing for these players to integrate and have fun every weekend as they prepare for future national competitions, as stated by Bent. And with softball, we say goodbye. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. With sport news, we reach to the end of this broadcast, but we see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more of Teleislas news. Good night.